A big welcome back to the shop. We've got so much to update you on. To start off, hey guys, thank you so much for bearing with me. I know it's been several weeks since I've posted a video. I've been very busy, okay? When you get down to a crunch time like this, you kind of just dig in, right? So I'm trying to deliver this airplane for SEFF, okay? SEFF is, I'll have my first full week of SEFF a week from today that I'm recording this. Hopefully I'll get this video posted the same day, but want to give you guys an update. I have to give you guys an update. All right, so let's get into it. What you're seeing here is a culmination of weeks and lots of time. This is a fully assembled wing, well, nearly fully. So I did build up the wings, okay? So that's first and foremost. I built the wings. I've got a carbon fiber wing spar that has a carbon fiber sleeve, and I've got several ribs that are plywood, that need to be plywood because they're hard mounts for the landing gear. Then on top of that, I have hardwood points, just bass hardwood for the servo mounting locations. We've got foam all around on the skin, and just to point out, the spar from like here out is foam, okay? It's the same approach that I took for the Fokker, right? So the Fokker has a main spar that was plywood, and then the outer is just foam, okay? I know this is gonna work. I know it freaks people out, but when you build with foam, when you skin sheet the wing, that adds structure. It adds torsional structure as well as, spar structure, okay? So when people freak out that I'm not gonna use epoxy and fiberglass to skin the wing to add the strength that it needs, don't worry about it. Trust me. Okay, so moving on. So what's really cool also is that I was able to use the large hinges from Dubro to fully hinge the flaps. The flaps are made out of G10 and then just some balsa pieces. And with the hinges, I was able to use some it's actually aluminum wire. It's made for hanging pictures, and use that as a hinge pin that I can pull in and out to service these. So I can pull these off to paint them when we're done. Don't know if I need to, but I can. We've got brand new Dubro hardware all around. We've got Dubro heavy duty control horns. We've got 256 push rods with the metal clevis or quick links, and then we've got these clevis connector metal clevis quick link. So many pieces of hardware that all fits together. Lots of adjustability here. It's all been set up mechanically for specific endpoints. I have mechanical endpoint here, and that way I can set the other endpoint in my radio to however far down I need the flaps to be. So that's just a safety thing for when I go to program the radio, that I'm not going to have anything bind and tear up one of the servos. So both of these are set up more or less the same. You've got the same kind of construction on the inside, right? So, also worth noting is that the wing has been glassed, but the weave hasn't been filled, so it's really rough. More on that to come. Not enough time to get that done. So the aileron, more or less the same kind of situation with the hardware. That was pretty easy to do. I do tend to want, once I get my mechanical setups, you'll notice that I do tend to want to trim off the ends of the control horns. Just my personal preference. I feel like it's not needed, especially since I know what's going to go down. I left a little bit of adjustability here just in case, because I don't really know how the ailerons are going to react, how responsive they're going to be. In addition to all of those control surfaces, the aileron control surface is actually a scale control surface. So it has this offset hinge point, which is kind of cool. But yeah, fun stuff. So then moving on to the landing gear. The landing gear is a work of art. Okay, so my friend Tom in my club nailed this. Okay, so everything that you're seeing here is custom. This is a single billet piece of aluminum that he machined for me. This is chromoly aircraft steel, and even these are custom. He machined these for me out of billet aluminum. I mean, this is just incredible stuff. He ordered springs for me. He took these retracts that I had, and he drilled them out for me so that they would accept these more beefy struts, some more universal size anyway. So, yeah, absolutely phenomenal work there, Tom. Thank you so much. And we've got, of course, a Dubro 3.75-inch wheel. Originally started with 4, but started working with Ben on the kinematics of the wheel cover, the spats. And the problem that we were facing was that there was going to be too much interference here with the 4-inch tires. So the 4-inch was based off of the drawings on the plans, and 4-inch was just not going to cut. And as it is right now, it is cutting it close, but I'm not done installing this. Okay, so we also have another part here, which is currently printing the other one here. Just goes to show you how down to the wire we are here, folks. This piece goes on the back. Okay, so I have to glue this on, but I want to make sure that I glue it in the right place for when it goes down. So it's probably going to be really, really close to that flap. But still working that out. There is a pivot point here that I had to make more G10 parts that bolt onto the fork. Yeah, I'll probably round that out just because that kind of looks ugly, but just wanted to start with as much material as possible. This goes around the axle, the wheel axle, bolt holes, and then the pivot point, the actual pivot point. So yeah, I got to knock that off. And then down here, there is a point where a piece of wire will go into the wood, and then it gets bent up and goes into focus, that hole there. And I have to work all that out. I have an idea for that. I'm gonna get it done today, I think. That is what's going on with the wing. So at this point, the wing is ready to fly. The wheel pants are more or less cosmetic, but it'll fly without them just fine. However, I do want to get the rear part, this part. I need to get that installed because the center of gravity it's just too far forward. We'll touch on that more when I get to the fuselage, but it's too far forward. And so inside of this, there's a lot of room. There's a lot of room for ballast. So if I can get some ballast in there, I can bring the center of gravity aft. If I have to add even more ballast, I will add it to the tail. My preference is to add it to the tail because then you add less ballast. But the airplane's already really, really light, really light. So the Fokker came in at 14 pounds, right? 14 and change. And this airplane is using the exact same motor, similar prop, a little bit different. But we're all up weight with battery is like 12, I think I measured. Yeah, so the airplane's like, yeah, less than 12. It's less than 12 pounds because we're just under 10 and the battery is less than 2. So yeah, it's like 11 and a half pounds. Figure 11 and a half, 12 pounds. Okay, so 820 square inches of wing area is pretty light for an airplane this size. Okay, so I have room to play with on the weight. So I'm using the holes that I currently have easy access to. I can always fill it out later. But the advantage of having the weight in these is we're moving some of the weight away from the fuselage to help null out some of the sensitive nature that we have on some of these lighter weight foamies. They don't look scale when they fly as much because they weigh so little. If we can get some weight out on the wings to help null out some of those air pockets, I think it will look better in the air and sacrifice some of that lightweight modeling. I have some leeway to do that here, so bear with me on that. I know it's talking head. I'm going to put you down. I'm going to come back with the fuselage and we'll talk about that. The fuselage is coming along. So we'll start up front here just because it's easy. We have the dummy radial done and dusted. It's painted and installed very well. If you follow me on social media, I've been posting some pictures of that. The spinner I have not done final sanding of yet. It's going to happen before I paint it, put it that way. Obviously, there's a cowl. The cowl wasn't there before. 3D printed. Again, thank you, Ben. Did an amazing job just drafting this up and making something with cowl flaps that I didn't have to work on because I just did not have time. I've got the exhaust pipes on. Just threw some matte black paint because I had it and it was easy. And the canopy. The canopy is... Yeah, I glued on the last piece last night. Leave me alone. Canopy is done. Just remove that protecting film once I feel comfortable removing the tape. We also have a pilot in here, which let's see if I can block light. There we go. So Carl did not paint this. I painted this. I'm actually kind of proud of this. This is the first time I've actually ever painted my own pilot to any sort of detail. And I think for my first time, it turned out pretty good. Obviously, I have some improvements to do. It's a skill. If you'd like me to go over some painting tips and tricks that I've learned from Carl and from other online tutorials, I certainly can, but there's a lot of resources out there. So I don't know how beneficial that would be, or if you guys are even interested in hearing my opinions and my techniques. So leave it in a comment if you feel like it's worth it to you. Anyway. The canopy also has a custom vacuum form part from, remember this? Yeah, worked out perfectly. It's a little bit dirty, dusty. I did wipe it down with a paper towel and some Windex beforehand, but maybe I should have used some tape. Yeah, anyway, so it's good enough, right? We're talking semi-sport scale here, right? Okay, so moving on. We don't have any of the bomb bay doors yet. That's to come. Haven't even touched it. Haven't even thought about it. But I do have wing retention here. So screws come up and go into the bottom of the wing into the wing spar, right? Okay, so that's just to keep the wing from sliding out. Locator dowels help keep from twisting. And we have servo connections. We'll get on the interior here in a minute. The tail, we have tail surfaces. These were built up out of balsa just because it was easy. Then covered in something that I had in my stash. It's kind of like Solartex or Oratex. And it's from Hobby Lobby. I picked it up at a swap meet years ago. It has that old book basement kind of smell to it. Don't care because it still worked. The glue still worked, but it gives that canvas covering look once you get really, really close. Yeah, there you go. So that's the kind of detail that I love to see on a model when you can get up really close and find little tiny things. So once it gets painted, it'll look awesome. and all of the control linkages work great. Yeah. So let me get the hatch off and get you inside the fuselage. The hatch is a pretty straight order affair. I've got some tongue and slot up here just in front, and I left this open part just for ease, and I knew that I was getting a little nose heavy anyway, so I didn't want to build up any more than I had to. The rear is just simple pieces of guide tube, no kidding, going into sleeve. This is Dubro sleeve, and it grips on this stuff really, really well. So no magnets involved here. No magnets were harmed in the making of this hatch. Nice leftover scrap balsa, just to prove that this is a scratch build. All right, so inside we have servos. We have a receiver that is not final mounted, and we have a battery terminal. So yeah, I have all my electronics installed. I had to make all my own Y harnesses. Made my own Y harnesses here, made all the Y harnesses for the wings and the extensions for the wings. So yeah, all the wiring is full custom job that I've done already. Crimped everything, soldered everything, burned myself a couple times. It's cool because I'm getting tired and weary on this build. But it's coming along. Now, center of gravity. We have to talk about center of gravity. So center of gravity means that we have to get out a ruler, and our center of gravity is between 10 and 13 inches of the leading edge of the wing, okay? So right now, my center of gravity is around 6. Now, that is not with the battery shoved all the way up here. That is with two 3S 6000 packs, one shoved all the way up here to the spar because it won't fit under the spar, and another one shoved up here. Now, if I put the battery here, it'll balance perfect. All right. So as it is, and this is with the landing gear up, so there's a lot to account for here. But needless to say, I built a very light tail, and I have all of this room that I have to play with. So from about here to here, I have to count for around 4 centimeters. So that is why I want to add ballast at the trailing edge of the wing, because it's way aft of the CG. How much that's going to take, I don't know. But we also have, aside from the skeg down here at the tail, this is solid foam that I can sort of hog out and throw some lead in back there. This is hollow because it has the control linkage for the elevator. So this is not an option. And short of, opening up something down under here and throwing a big old block of foam, not foam, but lead, it's a problem I've never had to deal with before, because building tail light is hard, people. Okay, so that being said, I've got the air truck ready to go. Okay, the air truck is ready to go. It's painted. I'll show you that later. But it's ready to go to SEFF. So I'm gonna go get this airplane going. I've got the next couple of days off. I have 8 million other things to do with my family. Having a graduating senior is work, folks. What am I leaving out? I'm going to SEFF. How awesome is that? I'm going to SEFF. And last of all, Dubro, love you guys. Brian and Terry and everybody else at Dubro, thank you so much for supporting me and the builds that I do. I mean, absolutely incredible amount of hardware in here. I've got 2 cowl mount systems just on the nose, one system for the cowl, one system for the exhaust pipes, and the dummy engine. Oh my gosh. So many things going on. Tail wheel, push rods. It's just amazing. Control horns, servo control horns, just so many great parts. And they have continued to support me through this build. They have no indication that they won't support any future bills. So, I'm just feeling incredibly thankful for good people in my life and in this hobby. And they've even extended to me my own promo code. Crazy. Josh10. Go to Dubro.com. Buy some parts. Use promo code Josh10 and you'll get 10% off in your checkout. Thank you so much, Dubro. Until SEFF, keep building your flying works of art.